speaker this evening is Liz from Design for Living in Clearwater.
Hi everyone, my name is Liz. I am an alcoholic. Hi, Liz. And I just want to thank Chris and Caleb who's not here, but let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers, for inviting me to your home and participating in our recovery, because sobriety, which goes on out there, doesn't happen unless I'm like rooted in here, these rooms. But there also has to be some things that get done. But and so everybody, I can't remember names well, they're just picking up chips and here for the first time or whatever it is. I want to tell you, we know you. We know you better than you know yourself. So if you're here, you're probably in the right place, because we can help you when no one else can. And that's just coming from my experience as well. And it's what a treat to be here on a Friday night, right? Meeting some old friends, with Kyle and Chris, and making new friends. I mean, where else do we do this? But most importantly, right, is that we save lives. And people get a lot of money for doing that. We do it for free. But in all actuality, I don't know if anybody here can identify, if you will, but there was a big price to be paid to be here. First, I'll talk about my children. They paid a great deal for me to be standing here with you guys. They paid a heavy price. They're fearful little hearts, mental, emotional, physical, their dignity, their self-esteem, their pride, right? Because they grew up with an alcoholic mom. Any of my loved ones, same type of thing. But most importantly, did anybody here ever self-sacrifice? Your morals? Did you ever lower the bar and do things you never thought? They call it incomprehensible demoralization, right? Your self-esteem, right? Your character, your integrity, all the things, however you grew up with. I grew up with great values, great morals. They did nothing. They were not able to separate me from alcohol. So yeah, there's a price to be paid to be here. And I want to thank you for keeping the light on for whoever's got to come here. You know, whether you're new or you have a little bit of time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I've been in these rooms at 5 years sober, pretty much curled up in a fetal position, full of fear and just devastation and all kinds of things that riddle people in general. But when you're an alcoholic, that stuff is intense, is intensified. So I love talking about alcoholism. I love talking about Alcoholics Anonymous. This is just my experience with the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous and the Program of Action, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's my experience. I've had some great teachers put in my path. Nothing I say is really original, but most importantly, I experienced it. I know a lot of stuff. I could tell you that book probably from front to back, and I say that not, looking for any kind of pat on the back, but I had to know what I was up against. So when I say I'm an alcoholic, I have a pretty good idea, but let me tell you, sometimes it still comes at me. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that's alcoholism. But you see, I have a way out today. I have a solution, and I treat it very differently than I did. I'll tell you what it was like and how I treated my alcoholism, and I didn't know that's what I was doing, right? So I love to talk about alcoholism. And as much as this is my story, if you will, this is not about me. This is about what God did for me. This is about the miraculous. We call it the humanly impossible. And I can attest to that. And if my kids were here, they'll tell you the same thing, because I slid them across the bar. You're in my way. You're going to pay that heavy price I spoke about. And I don't mean to do that. And I have a friend of mine, and she puts it as that I have an illness that is stronger than a mother's love for her children. And I get that. That hit me right through to my core, right? Because believe me, I did not want to do the things I did and say the things I said to my children. But I had no choice, and I didn't realize this was going on. This is what I just thought it was like a horrible person, and you're going to pay for what you did and all that other stuff. So just real quick to kind of break it down, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I want to tell anybody here that's a little uncomfortable and squirmish and is not, raising your hands, that we have a line in our book, and it's one of the most powerful promises. It says that your most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead of you. That's hope. And when I heard that, because my existence was just that, it was existence. Towards the end stage of my drinking, I started to drink, I had my first drink at about 12 or 13, and I was separated from alcohol when I was 43. And one day at a time, I've been able to accumulate because of the move your feet, move your feet, move your feet. This is great. You're sitting down. Sit down, but take some action. Because we know what will happen if you don't. There's the door, and you'll maybe make it back in. So the best thing you could do is just to follow some directions, take the action here, and you can live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your current circumstances are. And I'll tell you, that's my experience, and that's the God-honest truth. And that's something I couldn't have accomplished on my own, because I had like a 30-year, if you want to call it a drinking career. And I did for on and off. I tried to fix, manage, and control it for about 30 years. And, you guys put words to what I was doing, right? You guys put words. You talked about self-deception and experimentation. We're good at that. We're very creative, colorful people. And I'm going to get a way out of this thing because I want to drink like a lady, because I was taught. You drink like a lady, you carry yourself like a lady. Women don't do certain things. And see, I wish I could have lived by those rules, but I couldn't. See, and I'll tell you what my alcoholism, it's not so much about what happens when I drink. Let me tell you that I get a personality change when I drink. And it's not usually a nice one. I'm a little bit on the violent, angry side, with or without liquor. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Without it, it could be even worse. So when we talk about, you put like restless, irritable, discontent, you put those words to what I was going through. Your skin's crawling, I'm annoyed, I can't, get away from me. I have no tolerance, I'm impatient. I didn't know that's what restless, irritable, and discontent was. Right, that's my state between drinks. That's alcoholism. And I can't stay there. See, I don't white knuckle it. I can't stay there too long. Nobody can. So, and that's all those, that restless, irritable, discontent, I'm easily annoyed, I'm bothered, I have no pain. Those are human conditions. But if you throw alcoholism on top of that, you're in a whole nother space. And God help anybody who's around you. Right? Well, me, I should say. I'll speak for myself, So, alcoholism, I don't want to say suffered from it before I picked up that first drink. And I'll give you some examples of what it looks like. Before I picked up the drink at 12 or 13, I still can't get the math right. It's crazy. It's irrelevant, actually. So I'm a young child. I come from a very loving family, no abuse, big, welcomed. I was adopted. Taught right from wrong, morals, values, character, dignity, integrity, all those beautiful things that I wanted so desperately to live up with. I had the white picket fence dreams and all that. But here's what I suddenly start to experience as I'm in grammar school. I start to experience this, my friend Chris calls it a toxic sense of self. I got this self-conscious thing going on. I can't walk past a room because I think you're looking at me, you're laughing at me, and I'm young, I'm a kid, I'm in school. I can't go up to the board and do anything the teacher asks me because you're all laughing and looking at me and you're thinking stuff about me and I don't know what it is, but it's not good. And this is all going on in my head, right? Simple example of how my first impression, how alcoholism settled in on me. I was in, again, grammar school, so it wasn't even in maybe 6th or 7th grade. And at the time, you got handwritten report cards. And the teacher wrote, "Elizabeth is a lovely child in class." Simple, done, leave it be. No, I pick it up and I look at it and I say, Elizabeth is a lonely child, the N and the V, whatever. I interpret that. This is what I see. See, I have an illness of perception. I see, hear, and feel things very differently. It's just what it is. And I take them to heart. I take everything personal. This is my sense of self, my self-consciousness, right? It's all about me and what you're thinking about me. I'm in your head too. So with that, I've already got a label I've established. Actually, a lie established. And I believed it, that I was a lonely child. So now I'm carrying this through my life. They must think I'm lonely. They must think there's something wrong with me. I can't fit in because I'm here. And the book talks about it. Bill Wilson phrases it, anxious apartness. Whew, is that on me? Anxious apartness. I'm not a part of, and again, another lie, because I come from a big, loving Italian family, both sides. So I'm a part of something, but I'm not in it. I'm not in it, and I honestly don't want to be there either. It was like I was embarrassed of the protection and the love I had gotten. So I'm always fearful. I'm always red. My God, please don't call on me. Don't let the teacher call on me. And I do well in school. I'm smart. I'm not stupid. I get A's and B's. So what happened was I lived, obviously, I'm not from here or anywhere in the South. Brooklyn, New York is my hometown. I got sober in New Jersey. And I always spent my childhoods down here. My grandparents came down in the 70s. So I've been coming to Port Richey, and I think I haven't been here in at least 10 years. I used to come to this group when I was taking care of my mom. So I'd come down spend my summers here, and here's what's happened. Here's how I discovered liquor and what it did for me. Forget about what it did to me. Well, I'll tell you that. But that's not going to matter. So I'm mentally different from non-alcoholics. There's a bunch of, I'm like I said, 12, 13, 11, around there. And there's older 16-year-olds, and they look like they're having fun. They're boys and they're girls. They're laughing. They're playing games. They're just having fun. They're in a group, and I see like, oh, I would like to be a part of that. Right? See, that's what I want. I want so desperate to be accepted and approved, despite the fact that I had it, but it's not what I want. I didn't want like loving parents, and I didn't want that attachment. It's like too much for me. So I withdrew, right? So I see this group of kids, and what I don't see is that they were trouble. They were cutting out of school, they had warrants out for their arrests, and they're smoking cigarettes, and they're drinking and all this other stuff, and I get offered a drink. I was terrified, but I said, oh, okay, I'll try it, and I tried smoking, and it choked me and all that stuff. So it's vodka, not that it matters, but I happen to, hard liquor, hard, cheap, brown, love it, right? Don't give me the pink wine, although I will drink it because it's there, and it's like, oh, better than nothing. But no, it's got to burn, it's got to be cheap. It's crazy. So this is abnormal. Like nice drinkers, they know their booze and they know what's good and what's going to make them sick, and they pay the extra money. No, I want the handle, screw top, and that's it. I'm good. I don't need a glass, ice, nothing. This is how I devolve, right? This is not ladylike, and it wasn't always like that. I thought I was, because I used to hang out with some guys in Manhattan underground, and they used to have big bucks, and with big money came a lot of other stuff. So I thought I was, living pretty good. I didn't see anything burning down around me. So back to when I get offered that drink, I take the drink. I'm violently ill. I'm drunk. It wasn't much. I don't actually remember, but I get taken to the rooftop of the building next to where I'm living with my parents, and I get raped, right? And I don't know. This is how peculiar and abnormally different. We'd say we have a mental defective, if you will, and I'm like all about the words that our book uses to describe me, because I know what that means, and I know what it feels like. That I didn't know that that's what actually happened to me until I did my first, fourth, and fifth step at 43 years old. I accepted that as like I had arrived. And I went home and I lied to my parents because I was a mess. And And I felt finally, I was a part of something. And I had this guy, and he was interested in me, but he wasn't. In any case, it didn't last and whatnot. So, what it did to me didn't matter, because I want to guarantee that a non-alcoholic 12 or 13-year-old probably would have ran home hysterical, told the parents, and never drank again. That's not going to be the case. So, and what it did was, it didn't give me any kind of, and I find this out when I write a 4th step in the sex inventory. It was a form of acceptance for me. So I was free. I became very promiscuous, and I gave freely. I had no animosity or bitterness because I didn't know what happened to me. I just thought this is what you do, right? So sex became a very natural and normal thing to get approval and acceptance. And I thought that's, and let me tell you, that takes a long time to kind of reprogram, but the steps take care of all of that, because that's not the woman of God I want to be today. That's not part of my lifestyle anymore. I mean, I don't even want to say it worked, because it was pretty hazardous and dangerous. So so I'm now introduced to alcohol, and I develop a relationship with alcohol. I don't know this either. You see, you guys told me what I had, a relationship with alcohol, and it made perfect sense. Because it dominated me, right? It dominated me. It kind of made sure where I went, who I was with, and what I did, and most importantly, what I was willing to do to get that. What I was willing to do to get what I needed, whatever it was. And what did I need? I needed to be comfortable. I wanted to be okay. I needed ease and comfort. Because you see that space between drinks that I mentioned? That's unbearable for me. That's sobriety. So if there's anybody here, chronic relapses, I'm not sure why. See, my problem's not liquor. It's not the husband that works, long hours. It's not the overprotective mother or the neighbor who's like harassing or whatever. I harass. I blame the neighbor, and I'm the one. I'm the menace. But right, it's that I can't. This time sober is unbearable. It's uncomfortable. I don't know how to do this thing called life. That's what it is. I'm full of fear. I got constant tension. I'm uneasy. I'm edgy. I mean, whatever it is you want to call it, if you've experienced that, you know what I'm saying. It might not be those exact things, but some form of it usually will show up, and no human being can sustain that for a long amount of time. See, so the difference, what makes me different is my go-to is booze, or whatever else I can get my hands on to feel that ease and comfort. See, I didn't know I was looking for ease and comfort. I just thought everything was too much for me. It's too much, I can't handle it. I can't make these decisions now. And this just made sense to me. See, but the problem is that I don't see alcohol as a problem, because I was asked lots of times. So I didn't start my drinking, so of course at that time when I started 13, I'm still in high school. I'm not 24/7. It's a progressive thing. I'm able to stay off it. I don't drink a lot, but I'll tell you what it is though. After I had that first drink, I have a personality. I'm different now. You see, remember all that fear and that anxiety and that self-consciousness I had? That's gone. Now, I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, I'm belligerent. Right? I'm a little bit more angrier. Sober. That's the alcoholism kind of just went, boom, gotcha, girl, okay? So, if I never would have picked up that drink, I never would know, right? But I had no choice. I'm alcoholic, and that drink did something for me. And I want to tell you, if you're here in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? I darkened the door. I came in here fallen, broken. It was brutal, the end stage of my drinking. See what that drink did for me? Alcoholics Anonymous and the power of God that I get access to from the direct actions I take does something to, for, and with me that I can't explain. And nobody else can, but they respect it. Okay, so if that's it, I hope I want to bring some hope here, because we do get transformed. We do get transformed. There's no doubt about it. It's a guarantee. There's an absolute guarantee. Your 12-step will tell you that. That doesn't mean I'm still alcoholic. I'll always have the mind of an alcoholic. I hope I don't die from alcoholism. But if I keep coming here and keep moving my feet and doing what I'm supposed to do, whether I like it or not, get somebody who's going to push you and not sugarcoat stuff. No. Like I said, we save lives here, and this is a matter of life and death. So when I have somebody come and ask me to sponsor them, I'm like, you don't know what you're in for. Because I'm not here to chit-chat, and I'm not going to be your friends. I mean, I do wind up developing and forging wonderful relationships, which is a gift and a blessing. Because, we have a line in the 12 and 12. It says we have the utter inability to form a true partnership with another human being. Anybody else have that? No? Gotta be the only one? I hope not. So any case, so back to what it was like. So years go on, I get married, I have 2 children. My behavior is very unpleasant. Like I said, I'm not a happy person. Sober. I'm not happy. I'm not really that satisfied. And I worked on Wall Street. I made the money and all that other stuff. And I didn't have many consequences either. See, and that's what was tripping me up for a while, this unmanageability thing. So get somebody who's going to understand it. So unmanageability, if anybody has the book, and we're maybe familiar with the bedevilments on page 52, that's pretty much your unmanageability, right? So I did not get DWIs, and I should have. I'm compelled to drive drunk. Compelled. And I will actually tell you, I drive pretty damn good, right? I'll tell you that, but this is driving good. I have one eye covered and I'm seeing triple vision. And I still can't see anything wrong with this. See, it wasn't wrong, the drinking I did, because it treated what I suffered from. It treated my alcoholism. So I'm thinking, I feel pretty good. It's all good now. I take that drink and it's like, okay, I'm good. And it's like, no, it's not good. Because I just left, in my wake of the last run I was on or whatever, a trail of people that are just shocked and baffled and bewildered and want to know what's wrong with you. I'm like, I don't know. What's wrong with you? No, we're all baffled. We're all baffled. I was just completely confused because I couldn't understand. I can't get out of this. And what's going on? I knew there was deep down inside. I knew. I says, there's something really wrong here. Oh well. See, that's right. I gotta push that aside. Because alcoholism won't let me say, you better get help. There's something wrong here. It won't do that. It's got to protect itself. So, just to speed it up a little bit, because the years go on, and it doesn't matter so much what I did when I was drinking. We all have different traits, characteristics. There's the manic depressive type. There's the one who just falls down and passes out. And I did all that. I blackout. I'm a vomiter and all this other stuff. And I run like a menace through people's lives. So it's not so much when we drink what happens, but it's like when I'm not drinking. What does my life look like? What does my sobriety look like? And that's what we treat here. My inability to face life successfully. So if there's anybody here who's not sure if you're alcoholic, we have a couple of really great qualifiers. You could diagnose yourself if you want, because I didn't know any of this either, right? It says, if when you honestly want to, you can't quit entirely. That's like quitting for good and for all. And I honestly wanted to quit many times entirely. And this is what it looked like. Never again. I'm not drinking again, I swear. I'm not doing it again. Hundreds of times. And I just look like a blatant liar. And they're disgusted with me. This is now towards the end stage of my drinking. I desperately wanted to stop, but desperation will never be enough for me to stop, because I had it. I wanted and I needed to stop. I just couldn't do it. So I didn't know I can't. See, and then I started to say, well, that's it. I'm not drinking. And I said, well, let's just not drink till Friday. Because that's a time and a place when the kids, you don't have to drive them to practices and all that other stuff. Great idea. But I can't do that. I can't wait till Friday. Because this is what my week will look like, right? I'm going to say that on Monday. Right? So I want to quit entirely, or just say, well, let's not be drastic. Maybe Friday. Wait till Friday. And that's what my brother told me. There's a time and a place. Just do it wait till Friday. All right. I'm going to do this, I'm trying to muster up every fiber in me because I know I can do this. How could I not, right? So Monday, I'm good. I'm psyched because of the way it's going to, yes, I'm going to not drink till Friday, right? Tuesday is like, okay, it's still all right. It's all right. Wednesday, it's like, oof. Crap. What's today, Wednesday? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Thursday, Friday, 2 more days. How many nights is that? And I'm counting now, right? Now, Wednesday, if you don't really get in my way, because I'm really starting to get a little bothered. Like restless, irritable, discontent. It's annoying me now. Now I'm annoyed that I made this decision. I'm like, I really got to do this now, right? This is my head. This is all going on. This is the alcoholic mind. It's like a circus. It's a troublemaker, let me tell you. It's a troublemaker. And, but you see, this is my ego, and the pride will step up and it won't let me drink. Because like I said, normally I don't white knuckle it. I know the end game is going to be, you're going to drink, just do it now. But I'm going to prove to you this time I'm going to prove to you. And honestly, it was never to prove anything different. I always wanted to prove the same thing. I'm going to drink like a lady. So I never wanted something different. I just always wanted the same thing. I want to drink like a lady. So Wednesday is a little bit, oh God, it's heavy. It's starting to get like this. Thursday, I'm sick. I got to go lay down. You got to leave me alone because I don't come near me. And I start to get Thursday night, I start to come out of the room and I'm like, oh, I feel a little bit good now. We can have a nice dinner, right? And they're looking at me like, you were just like the Jekyll and Hyde. You just we didn't know, should we go easy? Should we make noise? They don't know what to do. I spoke to my kids. But Thursday I'm getting very excited because tomorrow's Friday. That's my week without liquor. And that doesn't last too long. So I say, forget it, I'm not waiting till Friday. And I told my family, I said, yeah, sorry about that, I don't know what you're gonna do, but I'm not gonna stop drinking. Because they tried to help me, they tried interventions, and I even went to 12 weeks of IOP. 6 weeks, 5 days a week, full days. Nope, I wanna do 6 more weeks. And I'm crushing on the guy in the place, right? And at 12 weeks, I get the graduation letter, and I'm stopping in, and I get loaded on the way home. I didn't have an intention, but yet I drank. See, I don't have to be thinking about drinking. I did not think about drinking after those 12 weeks of IOP, or whatever outpatient it was, right? I wasn't thinking about drinking at all. I somehow just pulled off the road and went in and celebrated. Had a celebratory drink that I accomplished 12 weeks of this program, right? So luckily, though, I was like I said, I was crushing on this one guy. Meanwhile, I have my husband and my 2 small kids at home. Devastated. They don't know what's going on. My husband's working in another state, and he don't know if his kids are safe or not. My kids were not safe with me, I'll tell you that. So he goes off to rehab in Florida, right? And I said, oh, I want to go where Bobby goes. I want to go where Bobby's at rehab. I'll go there, right? Anybody ever have like rehab soulmates or psych ward soulmates? How about the psych ward? Well, they don't call them that now. That's like not correct. It's the crisis center. I was like, give me a break. I was a nut job. I had to be locked up. All right? I don't care what call me that. That's like, but that's just me. So yeah, we had lots of those romances. Isn't it bizarre? I'm in this psych ward, I'm in the rehab, and these are my best friends. I love these people. Those are not the people to love, trust me, okay? They are not the people to love. It's just abnormal, right? Again, like I said, I got a husband, mother, father, family at home that's devastated. I darken their world. So I wound up getting, but before that, I had my last hurrah, if you will. And the unmanageable, my bottom showed up as an emotional state of just desperate despair, pain, misery, suffering. Remember I talked about that restless, irritable discontent? That's actually on a good day. That's a good day for me. Because what happened towards the end stage of my drinking, our literature, I love our big book, that's where it's at. We have a lot of literature, but that big book, that's the game changer and the lifesaver. And it's clear-cut directions. Nothing's negotiable in there either, so if you want to go in there and say like, yeah, but, and you get a good sponsor, they'll cut you right off. And that's what you want. There's no yeah, buts here. So, again, this is just my experience with it. Yours might be different, and that's fine. So, in the book, it talks about those hideous 4 horsemen: terror, frustration, bewilderment, despair. This is the end stage of my drinking now, where I had to drink. It was a necessity. I'm turning yellow, I'm bloated, I'm losing bodily functions. So it was necessary for me to drink towards the end. How I'm, like, this was not who showed up here 18 years ago. Absolutely not. Like I said, I darkened those doors, pretty banged up, fallen, and broken inside. Right? So when those 4 horsemen are on me, they're on me day, night, drunk, sober. I can't get drunk enough. When they're on, there's nothing I could do but bam, hit the knees. This is a good thing. I had to be 100% hopeless. And when I see hopeless, I kind of get, I hate to say it, I get a little bit excited because I can work with you. We can work with you. Because I know what it's like to not be hopeless and have that lurking notion, that reservation our book talks about, right? Because I had it. Because when I was in that 12 weeks of IOP, I swore, all right, I won't drink for a year, but on my birthday, I'm going to have that glass of wine. I thought wine would be a lady, right? I have wine. I told you I don't drink. I'm not a wine drinker. And so I had, that's what they call a lurking notion, a reservation. I can't do this entirely. I'm going to have one next year. I didn't make it out the door. I didn't get to my house, right? So but there's something wrong here, and I don't know what's going on. But so I had to have that. I had to devolve, if you will. I had to get deconstructed, right? The dignity and everything. I had to be stripped of any kind of conscious thought that I can get out of this. It was a beautiful place to be. Let me tell you, what a gift. So I blew past desperation, because like I said, I was desperate dozens of times not to drink. And I had the utter inability to leave it alone. I had to, no matter how great the necessity or the wish, I needed and I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. So alcohol, in essence, people say it stopped working, and yeah, it did. It didn't get me drunk, it kept me alive. But it actually worked because it brought me to that place of being 100% hopeless. Nothing else was. The begs and the pleading and the crying of my kids weren't standing between me and a drink. I told them, oh, I'm sorry. Young kids, I'll never forget their faces. They were just like, I'll never forget it. I shouldn't. Because I know exactly when Bill Wilson talks about us as being an unlovely creature, I know what that's like. And if I'm not here, rooted and grounded in Alcoholics Anonymous, more than coming to meetings, more than just doing stuff like this is for fun, right? I'm going back to that. I'll go back to that unlovely creature. I'll go back to that menace and nightmare without a drink, and I probably won't last long. So that's why many of us don't. We either, if we don't drink, we're going to take a bullet. There's no other way out. No other way out for us. But we have a way out here. So I go to the rehab where Bobby was. I go, but he couldn't go to his. I had to go to the one next door, whatever. So I get into rehab, and I said I was beaten to that place of reasonableness. That all I said, I'll never forget at the end. I said I gotta go, and I don't know what that looked like, but I just know I said I gotta go. So my brother, my mother, they made arrangements. They got me into the rehab. Of course, I didn't go the day I was supposed to go because I had to take a trip to Atlantic City and run through strip bars and have my call everybody and tell everybody I'm going to rehab, but I'm going out tonight, boy, and I'm going to live it up, right? This is abnormal. I would think it's abnormal, right? Most people don't publicize, advertise, or do things, right? But yeah, so I missed the plane, and I get down there, and this is how cunning, baffling, and powerful it is. I get there, and yes, I was loaded because I drank on the plane there. You have to continue. Once I started, I didn't know my body was going to command me and demand me to drink. See, there's more to the illness than just what's going on. We all talk about the obsession, right? It's no longer an obsession. That obsession I had was that week's, when I explained to you that week from Monday to Friday, right? I don't know that my body is different than my dad. My dad can come home from working on Wall Street, have one martini. Oh, he's good. He gets that ease and comfort. I might want to, my intention is to have that one martini, but I have a body that's so wired different, and I don't care why. I'm not interested in the scientific approach to it. All I know is that I can't stop when I have that one. And I always thought it was the 10th vodka. It's not the 10th vodka. Water glasses like this, I'm a small person. Maybe it's too much, I overdid it. No, once I put that first one into my body, I light a fuse, and it made sense because why am I marking bottles? That's abnormal too. So I have all these abnormal characteristics, and I'm doing childcare in people's homes. They started to mark the bottles because they saw the booze was going down, and I'm taking care of their kids. Smoke alarms are going off because I cook a lot too when I get loaded. So not only do I mark the bottles, because I say I'm not drinking past that letter on the label. Like, this is a brilliant plan. I'm going to use the bottom of the letter this time, not the top. See, you're laughing because you know, right? So, and that never worked. And I'd wake up the next morning, I'd be like, what happened? The whole gallon's gone or whatever. It's like, so I got this thing, my body does not metabolize. Whatever it does, I light a fuse when I drink. And that's why I can't stop when I say I'm going to have one. Oh, this makes sense. I didn't know this, but Alcoholics Anonymous, you do. You know this. And you tell me what's wrong with me. It's not the 10th one, right? But my powerlessness starts here first. Because why can't my mind, it'll never keep me away from the drink. So I go to rehab, and I actually was 3 weeks in. Actually, the second day I start to come to, and I start to say, gee, I think I got to get back home. I'm in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, because it's my busy time. I worked in the food industry, right? I was an event, yeah, it was a nightmare too, you know. But serving booze and food and whatnot at weddings. I got to get home. There's people counting on me. I got business to do, and I'm going to make a lot of money. And they're looking at me. Now, here's the thing. This was not a lockdown facility, right? So I could have left on my own at any time, and I stayed. That's not me. Because it didn't matter that I didn't have a car or anything. I would have walked out, found a way to the airport, got on a plane, and I didn't. Divine intervention, again. The hand of God keeping me where He needs me so I get better. He didn't need my permission. God does not need my permission to do a single thing with me. I could stand at my feet and say, I don't want to go, I don't want to drive an hour and a half. And then you're going, and then you're going, and I go, right? And that's a beautiful thing. So, and I stayed, and we crack open the book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and we had to read the first 3 chapters. And if anybody here has not read There Is a Solution, there's a line at the end that it says that you become sold on the ideas contained in this book. That's exactly what happened to me. Because by the time I finished reading, they described what was wrong with me. And it's not how I drank or what I drank. Because I sponsor women who are closet drinkers. They just drink a little wine in their closet. And, we don't have the same drinking traits, if you will. That book talked about how I felt, what I thought, what I was going through, my struggles, my difficulties, this thing called life. And I got it, and I said, I must have this thing. And let me tell you, I had my chin came up like this, my shoulders dropped, and I was like, I'm going to be okay. Because I didn't know I didn't know what to do about it, but I finally said, I can't drink. See, before all those 30 years, I would say, I'm not drinking. I finally said, I can't. but I didn't know what to do with it, but I followed directions. They said, go to a meeting as soon as you get home. And I do. I go to a meeting as soon as I get home. I have my psych ward romance pick me up, take me to a meeting. But he didn't make it. See, he was incapable of being honest. But he got me to my first AA meeting. See, the hand of God, he's going to connect dots, he's going to use people. Again, it doesn't need my permission. And put you where he needs you to be, whether you like it or not. So get used to that. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. I was told that, and it still to this day holds true. Because I made a lot of people uncomfortable, let me tell you. So I go to the AA meeting. So important, I can't tell you. Raise that hand with your day counts, man, because we're looking for you. We're looking for you. We need to carry a message to you and not get you sober. That's not my job. My job is to carry a message, 12-step, right? Try to carry this message, not Liz's message, this message, Alcoholics Anonymous message. I wish I had my book because I'd be shaking it like, I do, it's over there, I left it. Right? And I raised my hand. I was terrified to even say my name. You know, you go around the table of introductions, closed meetings. I was like, oh God, I couldn't even say I'm Liz, I'm an alcoholic. I was fractured, reduced to, but it was beautiful. And these women, 2 women came up to me and they said, do you have a sponsor? And I was like, well, I don't know, yes or no? Because I'm getting ready to give a prologue, and it's like I need you, see, because I need to always explain. How many of you got to explain everything? Why? Because I'm a liar, and I got to try to get you to believe me. So I need to stretch the truth. And I got a very creative mind. I fabricate a lot of stuff, and it's great. In fact, I had a whole meeting down here. I had the meeting already when I came. So sometimes getting thrown in at the last minute is great. You don't have time to have that ego and self-centered fear and pride show up. But I go right into prayer with it. And I say, God, just let your voice be the loudest, right? So, and let's have fun. So, yes, no, I don't have a sponsor. Good, Donna's your sponsor. I'm like, all right, because I don't know what to do. I need to be told. And thank God, because I don't need suggestions. I have lots of suggestions. My mom, eat bread before you drink. Bread absorbs liquor, right? This is good. Drink non-sulfite wines. This is good because you're allergic. They knew. They said you're allergic to liquor. I try everything. Nothing worked. Again, I can't separate from alcohol. And I gave up trying, which is a beautiful place to be. You want to call it complete defeat. It says, I know our book says nobody likes to admit that, but I did, and I was the best thing I ever did. So we take this journey through the big book. I've had a lot of big books, and I've gone through the steps, twice actually. But what I do today is so this is what it's like now. So that's what happens. Right? That's kind of what happens, how I got here, and what it's like now. I'm on the other side of the 12 steps, but the 12-step experience is not meant to be done alone. You will interpret it very differently. You will pick and choose. You will decipher. You say, no, that's not for me. That doesn't apply to me. No, you get somebody, and this is a sponsor. If I could give any kind of advice to anybody, sponsor somebody who's an adequate presentation of the 12 steps. Who has working knowledge and experience. You don't want somebody who knows the book. I know lots of people who know the book and they're not too well. That's just an observation, right? Because I look at how people living today, right? In any case, maybe you should strike that from the record. Don't take anybody's inventory. And that's the other thing I was told. No, you need to observe how people are living. Because if you want somebody to save your life, you want to know how you're living. Do you know God? What's your relationship like? What do you do in your recovery? Like, why were you involved in AA? These were all things, but I didn't know any of this. Thank God these women did, because they had what I had. But here's the thing. They were very different than me. They were heroin-addicted prostitutes. They worked with wise guys and stuff like that. Now, that's not my experience, but they had what I had. See, I work with drug addicts. I work, because drugs were part of my story as well. They said, anything I can get my hands on, I'm getting my hands on. Right? So, but they had what I had, and they knew what they needed to do to stay sober, and maybe, just maybe, I would have enough willingness to do the action to do what they told me to do, I'd get sober, but that's God's job. See, I don't get anybody sober. All I do is I carry that message. I take them through the steps. We walked through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I wrote a 4th step. The 3rd step this is not a big deal, people. It's not a big deal. But your alcoholism makes it a big deal. Well, yeah, but, my God, when I was a child. Well, yeah, but I didn't do that. Well, yeah, but that's all alcoholism. It doesn't want to get better. It doesn't. And it's designed not to see the truth. Because we live a life based on lies. Well, I'll speak for myself. All those things I thought were true about me and you, I find out are not. Right? So I have this 12-step experience. I come out the other side. I have a relationship with God now. Right? So before, here, it's just a real quick example of what it's like now. Before, I used to have, again, I'm at this tormentuous, that's not even a word, but place in my mind about should I drink, should I not drink, don't drink, just have the drink, I'm going, this is what's going on. And I got like 40 voices saying, don't do it. It's the National Honor Society, don't drink. Your son's going to go up there, don't, just eat dinner and go. There's that one voice, and it's slow, and it says, have espresso, you'll be fine. Have the drink. You can do it. Put some more ice in it. But then you'll have espresso and you'll sober up. That doesn't happen. See, because I don't put ice in anything. Ice dilutes, right? So we're experts on this. Don't put ice in it. No ice. Warm, good. It's fine. I don't care. See, so that one voice would win out every flipping time. I'm saying, there's something really wrong here. Now, 12-step experience on the other side of the 12 steps. All right, I might have a lot of voices. All right, send that email. Go ahead and send that text. Don't save it in a draft, right? See, it's not about booze anymore. I haven't, honestly, this is, again, my experience. In 18 years, I have not thought about having a drink once. It's a blessing. Call it what you want. Call it a miracle. Miracles are humanly impossible. Because there was a time that I had to have booze on my mind all the time. Because where am I going to get the next one? I'm running low. I can't wait till tomorrow, whatever. So it's about other stuff. Send the email, send the text, or, responds on social media. Dangerous. But, so self-restraint, you see, and I have the ability to do that now. And it might be like, oh, nail biting, but I don't want to be that person anymore. So I got all those voices, right, that say, go ahead, send the email, they deserve it. See, I'm punishing, I'm critical, condemning, judgmental. They deserve it after what they said and did, blah, 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 blah. And it goes, and now we start, right? So I have a thinking mind, very creative, colorful. But the thing is that it's the one voice now, thank you, the one voice, the voice of God that says, baby girl, nah, you're not that woman anymore. Put it aside, table that, maybe tomorrow, but not today. And I don't hit send, and I get to live happy, joyous, and free, right? I get called the voice of reason in my family. That was not the case. Like I said, I was a menace, I was a hazard, and what I found here coming to Alcoholics Anonymous is only God can match calamity with serenity. And as a direct result of the action I've taken, we get emotional sobriety here. It's not about booze. This has nothing to do about booze. It's about my design for living that works in rough going. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that can come to me and bring me to a drink. It sounds a little arrogant and cocky, but I serve a mighty God. I got a big God in my life. And if I stay connected to Alcoholics Anonymous and those steps, because that's all those steps are, designed to keep me in a relationship with God. See, I had a belief, but I had no relationship. Big deal, big difference, right? It's like a intimate relationship. I believe I'm in a relationship with that guy, but I don't have one, right? I can believe all I want. So same with God. And I spend time. I give God much time, morning and at night, follow all the directions there. Don't be afraid of the fourth step. It's not meant to get you drunk. It's meant to get you better. Not doing it will get you drunk. Make your amends. You got the biggest power in the universe on your back now. As a result of this and staying with the right people, there's a big difference. Alcoholics Anonymous, a lot of people here are not alcoholics. They're going to tell you, just come to meetings. Take your time. Take your space. Don't worry about the God thing. Take it easy. Easy does it. 1 step a year. Run. Sorry. No, this is your life. This is your life. So if you ask me to sponsor you, you're asking me to help save your life. And I understand exactly what that means and exactly what that's going to look like. So like I said, we know you pretty good when you know, all these chippers and day counters, but I just can't thank you enough for this time and space here right now, right here with you all, and the presence of God, which is in each and every single one of you. It's a divine, intense love that is indescribably wonderful. Again, my name is Liz. I am an alcoholic, and I'm forever grateful.
This here, we have passed the baskets in accordance with the seventh tradition. Also, a second basket went around to pay for our ASL donation. And you can pick up your meeting sheets at the podium after the meeting. Let's give tonight's speakers another round of applause. If you're willing to become a sponsor, please raise your hand. And Luke will come read theirs, a solution from page 25.
Hey everybody, my name's Luke. I'm an alcoholic. Hello. There is a solution, although none of us liked the self-searching, the leveling of our pride, the confession of shortcomings, which the process requires for successful consummation. But when we saw it really worked in others, and we had come to believe in the hopelessness and futility of life the way we've been living it, when therefore we were approached by those to whom the problem had been solved, there's nothing left for us to do but to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we've been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence which we had never even dreamed. Thanks, Luke.
Here we go here, and Rob will come read the long form of the 12th tradition and close the meeting with the Lord's Prayer.
I'm Rob, and I'm an alcoholic. And finally, we of Alcoholics Anonymous believe that the principle of anonymity has an immense spiritual significance. It reminds us that we are to place principles before personalities, that we are actually to practice a genuine humility. This to the end that our great blessings may never spoil us, that we shall forever live in thankful contemplation of Him who presides over us all. For all that care to join, we close with the Lord's Prayer.